Good morning to those of you out there on the East Coast, out there on the East Coast, out there on the West Coast, and out here on the East Coast. Good afternoon to those of you out here with me. I'm running a little sick today, so my brain is not going to be as sharp as possible. But fortunately, I wrote down what I want to talk about. We're going to get started here just a minute in the training. I'm going to get rid of this caption stuff to make sure we're good to go. I like to start off the training that I do each day with a little tip or something beforehand that just as a thank you to those showing up early and on time. I really appreciate it. When you show up early and on time, LinkedIn then puts the word out to everybody else saying, hey, there's a party going on. We have almost 50 people, I think, live right now at the start. And so pretty much in the next minute, we'll get another 30 people coming in. So thank you for that. I appreciate you doing that. So my tip for you, especially as it relates to AI that we're talking about today, is if you're not familiar with this organization, go check out the National Artificial Intelligence organization. There's so in the federal government at the executive level, there's a National Science and Technology Council. I did a post on this, and actually, I'm going to see if I can drop it into the chat really quick. I don't know if this will actually fit for everybody, but I'm going to put it into the chat. It's a link, but it's the national. Let me just put that there. It's the article that's out there, the document that's out there is a National Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Strategic Plan. The reason I'm recommending this to you is because in it, it talks about the government's need, DOD, civilian agencies, all of them, their recognition of artificial intelligence, AI, is one of the most powerful technologies or emerging technologies that are out there, and also our way to be competitive and move forward into the future. So my tip for you is just check out that link I sent. Understand the National Artificial Intelligence Strategic Plan at the national level, and then at all the agencies you go to, many of them are also putting out strategic plans that are similar to that. Okay, that was just a quick tip for those of you showing up early and on time. Let me share my screen. I'm going to go through fairly fast here. I talk pretty fast, but we got a lot to talk about, and let me just get my slides up really quick. Okay, in today's training, we're going to be talking about AI's role in government contracting. And this is an important thing. AI, it's an emerging technology, and it is the most, as far as I'm concerned, and I think this is pretty universally believed, it is one of the most impactful things to business, right? Forget about all the other ways in life, but one of the most impactful things in business, in my mind, since email or the computer, right? Those are revolutionary changes in the way we do business and what we're capable of doing. And I'm a process improvement guy. And so this kind of accelerates my ability to do the process correctly, the right thing, the right way, enough the right thing. What I'd like to talk about just getting started here is just to get us all on the same page that AI is a reality, right? I do get some people that come to my training, which I love, who aren't real believers of whatever I'm saying sometimes, right? They believe it at the end, but in the beginning, they're like, I don't know if a capability statement's important or knocking on doors is important or whatever it is, right? But you need to get behind this idea that AI is a reality. There is nothing about it that will go away. It will be part of our business. And so this is one of those changes that I would highly recommend you don't spend a lot of time debating whether you want to embrace it. Fully embrace AI into your business, AI into the way you sell, etc. 2024, I'm creating a training around creating a strategic plan for 2024, how to make sure you're lining up what you're going to do in 2024. AI will be part of that. And I want you to do that same thing, is create a proactive plan for adopting AI into your business at every level. I'm going to talk about 3 levels from a very high standpoint, but adopt AI fully in there, and you will be at the leading edge instead of running behind everybody else saying, what's happening, right? And then the last thing I want you to keep in mind, and we'll dive into this in a whole particular section in today's training, is I want you to be the AI SME for your core competency. And what I mean by this is artificial intelligence is going to be everywhere. An example that I'll use a little later probably is with construction. How can AI help with construction? Of course, AI can help with all these soft skill things, professional services, IT. We all know and can see how AI is fitting in there. But AI can fit with road construction, with building construction. It can fit everywhere. And so you're a subject matter expert on your core competency. Now, what I'm recommending is you and your company become the AI subject matter expert for your core competency. if you do trimming painting or something, right, on a house or a building, we trim it before we fully paint the walls or something. How could you use AI in there? How could AI help you manage the cost on the paint? Whatever. I'm just using the most, what I would consider the farthest away from AI example, but AI can be used everywhere, and I want you to embrace it. So today's training, I'm going to talk to you some examples. I'm going to give you some examples about using AI in day-to-day activities. Then I'm going to talk about just briefly about how AI is just coming up fully into our business for sales around. In today's topic, I want to talk about just RFI and RFP responses, how we can use AI in there and how we should be looking at it. Maybe some tasks for you to take away and think about. And then the last thing, which is really the most important part for me, is what I just talked about, right? Is how can you include AI into your service offerings? And really quickly, before I come off this slide, and so I'm going to ask you a lot of questions so I can keep drinking water. I'm sick today. But where are you using AI right now? Put it into the chat. Are you using it or are you not, right? If you're not using it, just say, I'm not using it yet. But if you are, I'm curious, are you using it day to day? Are you using it in proposal? If you feel comfortable, put that in, let others know, let me know. I'd like to kind of gather that information. If you don't know who I am, my name is Neil McDonald. I'm the president of the GovCon Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you to my federal sales training where I provide tips for success in the federal market. I spent 20 years in the federal market as a small business owner, and since 2018, I've been teaching people like you that government contracting is not a secret, it's just a process. When we follow a process A to Z, we're going to have repeatable, predictable results, and that's what I want for you. That's why I come back. One thing I would like to encourage you to do, if you haven't done it, join 11,000 other people who are subscribers to our newsletter. We share a ton of valuable information about succeeding in the government contracting space, constantly putting out information about federal sales tips or about information about the agencies themselves to help you do research. So sign up for the newsletter. It's free subscription right here on LinkedIn, but sign up for that so you get all of our information when we put it out. I just put out an issue today that had like 10 different other pieces of really valuable content in there. And just before we get started, for those of you showing up a little bit later, I am sick today. I don't apologize for that, but I apologize for my voice. It might go up and down like I'm in puberty or adolescence, but just bear with me. The content will be good. The voice might be a little scratchy today. Okay, let's get started with using AI in day-to-day activities. One of the first things I just want to talk about is the way I use AI. And the way I use AI is going to evolve massively over 2024, right? It really has just come on the scene in 2023 from a worldwide perspective, all of us looking at it. But I like, and when I say AI, I'm talking about ChatGPT type tools. And there's many of them coming out. It's just an amazing amount of transformation that's happening so fast. But ChatGPT, one of my favorite things to use it for on a day-to-day activity, and it's something I encourage you to consider, is I use it as my Google. I used to go into Google, and if I'm trying to do something in Excel, I say, well, Excel, in Google, I would type Excel, how do I combine these two fields or something? Well, now I can go into ChatGPT and just type in a question, and it doesn't give me a bunch of results to have to go through to find the one that actually has the answer. It comes back and goes, here's the answer. Right? I'll show you in a second a couple of these. But then it goes, do this, Neil, do this, do this, do this. I asked it once about PowerPoint. Hey, I'm trying to do this thing on PowerPoint. How do I do it? And used to be in Google, I would have to go through all this different content to find the one that nailed it. Well, ChatGPT, as an example, comes back and just goes, oh, you can do that in PowerPoint. You do it this way. Here's how you add a picture and give it a frame or something. Do this, do this, do this, do this. And it gives me the steps, and it tells me which menu item to go to. It is perfect, right? So I encourage you to use it as a place to go and ask questions, right? Integrate it into your business. I don't know if I see this down below, but I consider ChatGPT as just an employee. I say please and thank you to it. I look at it as somebody who's on my team. I don't look at it like Excel. Excel, I see it as a dumb tool. Email, a dumb tool. AI is a smart tool who can help me. My job is to be the subject matter expert around anything I'm talking about. But the tool is phenomenal. So the second bullet I put here is use it to refresh your subject matter expertise memory. I'm an expert in several different things. One of the things is in LinkedIn. Arguably, I'm one of the most proficient users of LinkedIn in the federal marketing space, for sure. And in this sales world, but I'll still go back to ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm writing a post about this on LinkedIn, and I want to point out the values of LinkedIn somewhere. What I'm looking for is for it to just refresh my memory. Sometimes I call it a sounding board. I go to my colleague in another office and say, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. What are your top tips on this, right? I literally talked with somebody today about this training on my team and said, what do you think about this? Well, I can go to ChatGPT and do that same thing. Somewhere in here, hopefully I say this again and again, but ChatGPT, you shouldn't lift it and shift it, right? The idea is you shouldn't pick up whatever it does or any AI tool and say it's done. No, you're the expert. It's drafting stuff for you. And in this case, it's drafting some ideas for you. So I put down a couple of questions like, what questions should I ask a lawyer if I'm meeting with them to talk about joint ventures or teaming agreements, or I'm thinking about getting a lawyer and retainer? What might I ask them? And he'll say, well, look for references, ask them about this, ask them to show you a couple examples or something. Tell them, are they all in on GovCon? Or are they partly in on GovCon? Another one is, how can I decide if somebody's a good teaming partner? And so I'm not here to teach you how to use ChatGPT today, but give you examples of how I use it on a regular basis. If I'm meeting a teaming partner and I want to decide, and I teach this, right? So I know this particular topic, but you might ask it, hey, how can I decide what's a good criteria for measuring a teaming partner? And oh, by the way, ChatGPT, I'm a small business in the government contracting space looking for government contractors as teammates. It'll come back, right? It's going out, it's researching this stuff. And it's like Wikipedia. It's not designed to be the source. It's designed to be a reference. It's designed to be a tool in your toolbox. And some other things I have here, and I've done a whole training on this that somebody might put into the chat. But I've done training on how to use ChatGPT to create PowerPoints, how to use ChatGPT and any AI tool to create blogs or LinkedIn articles. This top 10 list, remember I said use it to refresh your SME. Imagine if you're a software developer, or SharePoint is my last business, and I know there's several SharePoint companies. But imagine if you want to write a quick LinkedIn post and or a white paper, whatever, but you go into ChatGPT to remind yourself, to refresh your memory on, I want to migrate from SharePoint 2013 or whatever version on-prem, meaning at an agency, to online, right, into the cloud. I want to sit there and say, hey, here's the top 10 things you should pay attention to. ChatGPT, give me an idea. And it'll give you 10 ideas. And what I like to do is say, give me 10 more, give me 10 more, give me 10 more. And of that 30 or 40 or 50 ideas, I begin to go, oh, yeah, this one was really important to the migrations I've done. You're using it to refresh your memory, to help you begin to shape things out. You're not using it, the way I recommend, is you're not using it to just have it do your work for you. What's the point of you being the subject matter expert if ChatGPT is doing all the work, right? And then last one, summarize text into bullets. This one here, you can take a whole big bunch of text, and I've done that in a separate training, but I could take a text 5-10 pages or something, dump it into ChatGPT. I just copy and paste it, and I say, hey, summarize this for me, give me the top 10 most important bullets. Or I want to take this and put it into a PowerPoint presentation. I want to present this information. An example is the Army has a strategic plan, and it's ugly. It's just pure text. They didn't do any work to make it look good. Well, I can take it and say, put it in, give me 5 slides or 10 slides that I can present this to the industry, saying, here's what they're really saying. They didn't say it too prettily, but they said it meatily. So here's a better looking version of their strategy or something. That's summarizing text into bullets or into slides. And so AI can do all this on your day-to-day activity. Let me just show you really quick and pop back over here. And I just want to make sure I'm sharing the whole screen good. So I just want to give you a quick example here, right? If I sit there and say, I saw somebody put out an elevator post this morning, which is perfect. Rafa, who's in our community, I don't know if you're here today, Rafa, but somebody can tag her in here. But she did a post today about elevator safety around the holidays. But I might sit there and say, give me 10 bullets about, I'm typing at the bottom here, about, elevator safety for an infograph. And again, I'm sick, so I'm typing really slow. My brain's working slow. So I'm not going to sit there and go too far into it. My point, though, is ironically, this is one of the ones she said, number 3, she said, wait to exit. Don't rush into an elevator. Don't be a jerk, right? And so it's given me 10 bullets about elevator safety. I can tell this to my kids. Hey, no horseplay. Understand what you do if there's a problem, if there's malfunction. This stuff is good. And then I can come back and say, give me more. And this is just what I meant, right? You can use this tool. I can quickly take this and use this tool as a way to create a LinkedIn post or an infograph. I can use this to go in and talk to the customer and say, hey, we can do elevator training awareness for your agency. I don't know if they do that, right? But that kind of idea there. Do me a favor in the chat and give me a second to drink another bit of water. But I've given you just a couple of ideas of how you can use AI day to day, right? What have you seen where AI is being done or used well in your day-to-day activity? Have you used it, or have you seen somebody else do something really well, a good idea? And where have you seen it done poorly? And I'll give you one more example of poorly that actually my sister Cecilia, who works with us and is on in the chat there, she pointed this one out. There was this tool, this chat tool, and you go ahead and put it in the chat right now. What have you seen well and what have you seen poorly? But this chat tool that does commenting on LinkedIn, it was horrible in my eyes because the tool did everything. It read the post and commented and hit kind of submit, and that was it. It's like, well, you never engage that. I think that's very poor. I don't think people should use AI to comment in posts. If you're not going to actually read the other person's comments and engage back in a dialogue, then you're just scamming the system, and stay off, please. Right? It's like, I say that softly and nicely, but that's a poor example. So what have you seen where it's been a poor example or good example? If you feel comfortable putting in the chat, love to see that. Okay, so let's talk about AI-driven RFI and RFP responses. This is where I think a lot of people talk about how AI is coming into the small business world or the government contracting world. We can write a lot of responses. I just wanted to share my thoughts on this topic, and I'm going to do a lot more training around this. But one of the first things is just keep in mind, right? There are many new tools coming onto the scene. You keep hearing me talk about ChatGPT. That's just because that's the one I latched onto. That was the first main one, right, that we all heard about. And then there's others. There's Bard, I think, is Google's, and there's others. Maybe people can put them into the chat. But these are what I call raw AI tools. I just go in, I do some stuff. It's basically like an exaggerated Google or Bing or something. In fact, Bing, I think, would be one of those raw AI tools now with Microsoft trying to wrap it in. And then there's these proposal platforms. And I just put a couple here, right? Like Voltron or GovDash, Use Rogue, and Proposal Writer AI. I get contacted by these firms constantly coming out. So I'll be trying to evaluate them and pick one that I like and say, this is the one I'd recommend. But there are a lot of proposal platforms out there that you can begin to subscribe to and integrate into your business processes for writing proposals. If they actually get good, you'll be able to integrate them into your capture activity that leads to proposals so that you're writing just really incredible winning proposals. But what I wanted to talk about is just my perspective. I'm not here to have a debate with anybody on this. What I'm saying, the reason AI is good for us small businesses is that it is about being able to write things faster, right? Speed. It's about writing more responses to the government, and it's about improving the quality of our response. And and by the way, I didn't put this here, but at a much reduced cost, right? This ability to do more with less is just a normal way of doing business. All businesses, all agencies want to do that exact same thing, do more with less. I don't want to do less with more money, right? So I want to do more things, more stuff towards my mission, my business goals with less cost or less time in this case. So the idea is, though, keep in mind is we're trying to get out more RFIs. I teach this about how RFIs can be written for the win. Sources sought RFIs, and again, I'm not interested in the debate about this. I've been doing this 20 years. I've won lots of business, and I've helped people win lots of business writing RFI and sources sought responses, because that's when you engage with the customer. And so AI tools can help you write more of those responses faster. You can take a 25-page response and write it within a single day. And the more of these you write, the more intelligent the tool that you choose to use gets around what you sell. And as long as you keep yourself, I don't know if I had it here, the fourth bullet here, success will come only when you know your slam dunk. As long as you're keeping yourself writing to your slam dunk opportunities, your core competency, what you're good at. Again, my last small business was a SharePoint business, a Microsoft SharePoint business. So all we ever really wrote about was SharePoint migrations, SharePoint development, etc. Right? And so using SharePoint, that was our focus. That's what made us so quick to be able to and good at writing responses. If you keep that in mind, if you have a clear, concise offer that helps you define what a slam dunk opportunity is, one that you can win, if you have that, then you're able to sit there and write faster responses, etc. So the last thing here I was talking about is don't get caught up in these debates about whether AI should be used or when they can be used in responses. AI is just like an employee in my recommendation, right? It's writing a first draft. It's in the federal space. The way we write proposals is you write an outline or a draft, and then a draft, and then a draft, and then it moves forward. Just consider AI as that first one. At some point, it might get more and more intelligent, so it's writing a stronger, more compelling, compliant response early on, but it really is just somebody on your team. You would never have somebody write a first draft, go, that's it, let's throw it. No, everybody comes in, the solutioning, the leadership, the proposal and technical writing teams. We all come in and look at it and begin to make it better. And so AI is just a part of your team. These AI proposal platforms, they're just a part of your team. You still need proposal thinking around that. You still need somebody who's looking at that proposal and says, that it's going to be a good representation of your company to the customer. And the last thing I wanted to mention is before you start writing proposals using AI, if you're not winning business, go get on teams. Go get on other teams with small businesses where you can team up with them and learn about writing winning proposals, about proposal writing in general, and how a proposal has pages paragraphs and pages and sections, and to begin to understand how they write, and they can be compliant, answering the shall statements. They can be compelling. This idea of understanding how to make them compelling by having meetings with the customer and understanding truly where they're at before you start trying to write where they could go. Right? You need to know where they're at and the destination in order for them to take that journey. And so sometimes I think people look at these AI tools and go, oh, I can jump in and start writing faster. You sure can, but it doesn't mean you're going to win any faster. If you want to win faster, don't forget about the process of teaming up with other businesses and writing proposals with them. Okay, so let's wrap up about what I think is the most important thing is how to include AI in your service offerings. By the way, if you're using any proposal platforms right now, would you put it in the comment? I'd be curious to see if anybody's using it, which ones you're using. So what I want to talk about here is, a minute ago, I was talking about how to use AI in your business, how to use it in your back office to run some of your back office day-to-day activities, how to use it in your back office to write proposals. Well, now I want to talk about it in the front. How do you sell your services to the government using AI? Not how do you sell it using AI? How do you include AI as part of that? Let's call it a technology enabler to whatever you're selling. So if you sell cloud services, you have AI as a technology enabler because AI is a technology. So we call it a technology enabler. It enables this performance or result or outcome through an addition of the AI, right? So everybody should be selling AI in there. I wanted to use this quick example here of construction projects. In construction, it used to be somebody would have to go out there and look at the construction site to track the performance of the contractors on the project. How are we building, let's say a new building or campus in the VA, a hospital system or something. They go out and they look at it and they go, hey, I'm walking around, I'm seeing this stuff. And then drones came along and it was like the best thing ever because they could go up and they could take snapshots of the construction site every single day, several times a day. But they could take snapshots and those snapshots could be looked at and people didn't have to go out to the construction site. They could send this back and together with the customer, they could look at it and see the activity. Well, now AI is this next advancement, right? If they're not doing this already, I would recommend to construction companies who are to lower their costs of project reporting is to use drones to showcase the project and then use AI to compare the activity. And so you can begin to layer it all on top of each other with images or something. And AI can sit there and point out the changes. You can notice in the northwest quadrant, this activity is happening. This thing's happening over here. Using AI as part of your business is your responsibility because it's going to help the government understand where AI is a technology enabler into something you're doing. So think about what do you sell? I don't know if you did this already, But in the chat, put your core competency, right? What is your core competency? You should be doing that in my chats anyway, so that you're letting other people know what you sell. We routinely have 500 people who watch these trainings, right? They'll come back and they'll watch it. Many of them are federal buyers. So you want to put that information into the chat. That way they can see it when they browse the comments. But think about, what do you sell, right? And then think about, how can AI augment what you sell? An example is, I was talking with somebody who's using, or who's a customer of mine, and their focus is acquisition support services for a federal agency. So basically, they help the contracting office that you're trying to write proposals to. They help them with the activities within that office. So acquisition support services. One of the things I was talking to them about, going to their customers and saying, hey, we could use AI to do this, is when proposals come in, what the government could do is just put them into an AI-driven system, right? However you want to say that, but put it into a system. Before any human looks at it, the AI looks at it, and it flags the proposals for violations or compliant violations. So, for example, if you're not supposed to use a font lower than 12, it notices that and says it. If the pages have to be 25, but there's 26, it notices it. The AI does not make the decision on the proposal at all. What happens next is all the proposals go to the KO to look at, but when they look at it, they see red, yellow, and green. These proposals are red, saying, the AI is saying, we think these are non-compliant, should be checked out, and here's why. And it helps the contracting officer go in fraction of the time to do that, right? And so it's this ability to reduce the amount of time it takes to look at it. Well, what do you sell? What could AI go in and begin to look at and improve? So if you look at this last section of bullets I have here, federal buyers, they want to reduce, especially contracting officers, right, want to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse. And waste can be sometimes like unintentional waste. We're wasting hours here when we should be doing it here. Automation is a big solution to waste, right? Because automation can come in. If I'm spending 8 hours doing something manually that it can automate down to 1 hour, I just saved 7 hours of waste. And that can be a money savings, or those 7 hours can be shifted over where we can do something else. This is why they want to do it. And this is how you talk about AI as it relates to what you're selling. They want to execute on the mission faster and more effectively. How can you come in and talk about that, right? How can you come in and say, look, we could build this, the construction I was talking about, the construction projects, we can use AI to monitor the projects because we can identify risks faster. And we can also identify areas where, you know what, we can start working on this while this one is being addressed or something. So this ability to use AI, I can't say without talking to each one of you how AI would fit in, but I'm positive that if I looked at your business, it wouldn't take me but a few minutes to start having ideas of what about here? What about here? And so one thing I did put is go to ChatGPT or whatever tool you use and say, hey, how can I talk about using AI in construction services or elevator services, right? How can AI add value to what I sell? I was telling one of our customers who does elevator services, use AI to monitor the operation and maintenance of an elevator to reduce the cost of the maintenance in there. The government will like that. They'll be interested in that. If you can extend the life of an elevator before it needs to be replaced, they'll like that, right? And AI can begin to help you address that. Here's what I want you to remember from today's training. The first thing is AI is here to stay, right? So fully embrace it. Bring it into your business on your day-to-day activities, as well as begin to think about it externally, right? The second thing is choose an AI tool to speed your responses. So those proposal platforms that are out there, these tools that are coming out, pick them. That's going to be a competitive advantage of whether you're using one of those tools. So begin to find one, evaluate a couple of the tools and go after them and start using them to respond to your core competency, your slam dunk opportunities. And the last thing is just begin to integrate AI into your sales offering. Think about, how can I sit there and say, we sell this, and AI is a technology enabler that allows us to do more than our competitors is doing. So integrate AI into your sales offering. Hey, if you want to accelerate your growth into the federal market, that's what we do for our customers. I'd love to talk to you about it. Just go to govconchamber.com/workshop and you can apply over there and learn more about it. But for all of us, as you use AI in your tools, remember, government contracting, it is not a secret. It's just a process. I'll see you in the next training.